Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to my first live stream. Now, I really don't know what I'm doing, but hopefully over the next 30 minutes or so, I've got something quite interesting to share with you all. Now, this is all new to me, but I have some pretty cool software here. So if anyone has questions, if you type them into the question box, they will pop up on my screen and I can drag your questions onto the screen. So feel free as we go along, if you have questions, pop them in. I will stop every so often and we'll just take a look and see what everybody thinks. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch across and find a few slides that will help keep me on track when I talk to you about my Net Zero Challenge. Now, what is the Net Zero Challenge? Well, really it's quite simple. It's a challenge that I set for myself to have zero energy bills for 2025. Now, there's a number of different ways we're going to do this, but also to keep myself on track, what I want to be able to do is not just have a zero energy bill. I want to be able to create a surplus. I want to be able to have money left over that we can give to good causes. And there are lots of different ways that you can get involved. Now, before anybody worries, I'm not going to ask you to donate money. I'm not going to ask you to buy Bitcoin or anything like that. This is going to be something that you can help and participate in passively. And at the end of the year, all of the money that we raise, I'm going to ask you guys, what should we do with it? So I will have some ideas, obviously, but if you have ideas as well, then I'll be certainly really grateful to hear from you. But we'll make sure that come Christmas next year, some people will get a really nice surprise. So how are we going to do this? How are we going to get not only a net zero bill, because that's my goal, but how are we going to raise money to give to other people? Well, the way I'm going to do my part is through my solar and battery systems. Now, if you're not familiar with my systems, I have about 9.6 kilowatts of solar panels. I have pretty much covered every piece of roof that I have in my house. So the images you can see on the right-hand side there, you can see there's a 10-panel system that's the closest to south-facing roof that I have. The one at the top right there, that's my front of my house. There's another 8 panels on there. That's north-northeast facing. And for anyone that tells you that north-northeast facing or north-facing panels just don't contribute, they really need to go and look at the data, because those panels contribute about 1/3 of my total generation for the whole year. And then the 4 you can see in the bottom right, they're on my garage roof. So the other side of my garage roof, the sun just doesn't ever see that, so there was no point putting anything there. But I've pretty much covered every bit of roof that can support solar panels with my house. Now, all of the generation from that goes into these 3 big batteries. Now, I'm going to put my hand up and say, my name's John Tracy and I have a bit of a battery problem. I love the concept of storing energy for later use, certainly when it saves me money. So we have 3 large SolarEdge batteries that give us about 29.1 kilowatt hours of storage. And for those that have seen any of my videos out in the garden, you'll know that I also have 800 watts of panels on the fences. Big project with that coming up this year. And they go into a further 7.2 kilowatt hours of EcoFlow batteries. So we can store quite a bit of stuff in the things. Oh, now I'm just seeing an error pop up about resolution. So let me just have a quick look and see if we can do something about this. Stream health. No, I don't. It doesn't look like I can do anything. If anyone says is seeing a bad quality stream, if you can just pop into the chat and let me know. Otherwise, we'll press on and we'll see. Hopefully, it'll be all right. So yeah, as I say, bit of a battery problem. Now, the way anyone in the UK will know this, but generally solar panels in the winter don't generate an awful lot of power. This is my graph from 2 years ago. This is 2023. As you can see, December, pretty much a bust. January, not much better. Oh, great. Everyone says it's looking fine. Thank you for that. But the center part of the year is just amazing. We generate about 1 megawatt in June. And since that graph was produced, I've added another 200 nearly 3 kilowatts of panels. So hopefully this June, we're going to see amazing generation, providing the weather actually cooperates this year. As I say, over the course of last year, before we did the upgrade, we were generating about 5.4 megawatt hours in a year. Now, I'd say I can't really do any more than that because I've run out of roof space. I've put as many on the fence as the financial director will allow me to do, but I think we've pretty much maxed out what we can do from a generation point of view. So how are we going to measure this? How are we going to do it? Because there's so many different ways and so many different stats and so many different systems that I can pull data from. But I think the easiest way to do this is from my energy bill. So I'm going to share with you now, this was my energy bill, or what my energy bill app said on the 1st of January. So I was in credit by £122.99. So that is our zero mark for the year. So at the end of the year, hopefully that number is significantly bigger than £122. Even when we deduct £122 off, we'll still be in credit. And as I say, everything over and above will go to a good cause. Now, I said at the top there, we'll do this on December the 31st. I'll probably actually round it all up in early December, because with your help, I'd like to find a good cause or multiple good causes to give this money to before Christmas. So keep that in the back of your mind. If you've got any ideas, then please do drop me a note and let me know. So how can you participate? Because obviously I'm not going to ask, as I said, I'm not going to ask you to donate money. I'm not going to ask you to buy Bitcoin or invest in anything. That's not. How can you participate? Well, to be totally honest, you're already doing a pretty good job. So as well as the zero challenge that we're going to run, I'm also going to take every penny that I earn from this YouTube channel in 2025, and I'm going to add that to the pot. So far, £274.01. That's from you guys watching videos on my channel throughout the month of January, has generated £274 and a penny. So thank you very much for that. I really do appreciate it. If anybody wants to click on videos and watch other videos and let the ads run, I'd be more than happy to accept your donations that way. Also, if you've clicked on any of the Amazon links in the descriptions of my videos, the Amazon affiliate fees for that. Now, they haven't raised a huge amount, but they've generated about £14. And there's also a link in there for anyone that just doesn't know what to do with their money and wants to buy me a virtual coffee. As you can see there, there's £3 in that pot as well. That all goes into the pot. And then anyone that uses my referral links. So if you are getting a heat pump installed and you use my referral link, the £100 that Octopus will give me, that goes into the pot. Also, anyone that's transiting from another provider to Octopus, if you use my referral links, then £50 will go into the pot as well. So there's multiple different ways you guys can really help out with this. And as I say, you've been doing a phenomenal job, given we're 1 month in already. So we've had £200 in referral links for heat pumps. We've had £100 from people moving to Octopus, referral links there. We've had one person bought me a cup of coffee. We've had £14.30 from Amazon, and we've had £274 and a penny from YouTube. So we're off to a flying start for January. Now I want to shout a huge shout out to Karen and another person, because now I should say at this point, what happens when you use the heat pump referral link is Octopus sends me a note straight away and says, thank you for referring, in this case, Karen, and they will pay £100 into my Octopus account as credit. There was another one, but Octopus didn't send me an email. So I don't know whether there's a box you can check that says, don't tell me you're doing it or something like that. But the other person, whoever you were, thank you very much. And then George and Paul, you used the referral links to join Octopus, and therefore £50 came across from each of you. Now, for anyone that does want to use that, this is my referral code. I actually quite like Funny Lord 977. I think that sums me up properly. But if you do want to use it, is there. It will also be in the description of this video afterwards, and I'll put all the other referral links in there as well. Now, I should say one thing about the Amazon links. The Amazon links, even if you're not going to buy the product that the Amazon link is for, if you actually click on that link when you go shopping on Amazon, then it will add a referral fee for anything you click on, I think for a good couple of hours after that particular link that you've clicked. So if anyone's feeling particularly generous and you're shopping on Amazon, my wife tells me I shop way too much on Amazon, click on those links and you'll help towards the cause as well. Now, all of that money, £591.31, is going to go into a high interest savings account. And each month, we're going to put the money away. Once I've got the account set up, I will share with you the balance so you can see that it is safe. It is all sitting there. And as I say, as we get towards the end of the year, I'll put up a poll. I will certainly be seeking input from everybody as to what we do with that pot of money. But I think £591 for the first month is an absolutely stunning start. So thank you all for that. So now let's go back to my energy situation. So how much power did we use? How much did it cost? How much did we export? All of that data. Now, again, I'm going to use my Octopus app to show you this. So in January, we spent £143.80 on energy. Now, that seems like quite a lot, and it is, to be honest, but because of the way that we use energy in our house, we effectively buy all of our energy in between midnight and about 3 a.m. in the morning. And that means all of my batteries are completely full. And they will sit there holding that power till the end of the low cost period at about 5:30 in the morning, and then we will just empty the batteries all day long. And except for on the really, really cold days when the heat pump's pulling an awful lot of energy, it will see us well past midnight. Now, the good thing about this, it means that when the days are like today, we had a bit of sunshine, we will actually get a bit of extra power into there. And then in the evenings, when I know we've got enough to see us through the day, I will force export that power. And that's the graph you can see on the right-hand side there. So in January, obviously a very, very minimal month from a generation point of view, but we exported £9.26 worth of energy. Now, down at the bottom of the screen there, you can see the power-up rewards. So on the graph on the left, you can see there are some days where there's a much bigger spike than others, certainly around about the beginning of January. Those are the days when Octopus said there is a ton of free power available, use as much as you possibly can. So in that case, we charged the cars, we charged the batteries, we turned everything on that we needed to, we used as much power as we could, and those are the credits that we got back for that. So again, they go into the pot as well. And then finally on the right-hand side is the thing that annoys me the most, which is my gas. Now, for those that have followed along on the heat pump journey, you'll know that we haven't quite got to the point yet we can turn our gas off because we still have a gas hob in our kitchen. And our plan this year is to remodel the kitchen. We'll put an induction hob in at that point. The gas hob will go away and I will celebrate when the gas gets turned off because I'm actually paying more per day in standing charges than I am in actual gas usage figures. So it costs me more to have the gas than it does to actually use the gas. So those are the pounds and pence versions. If anybody's interested in the kilowatt hours, you'll see we use quite a lot of energy in our house. But I mean, when you think about it, we run obviously all of the things that everyone would run in their house. We run 2 EVs, we run a heat pump, and we charge the batteries up. So we pull in about 42 kilowatts a day of kilowatt hours a day, roughly on an average day. I would say some days a little bit less, like tonight we won't pull in as much because it's been a little bit sunny today. But as we go into the summer, we don't pull anything in from the grid. We just literally live off the batteries the entire summer. So I'm fully expecting to see that number diminish to almost zero, and then the generation figures go through the roof in the next couple of months. But yeah, we exported about 61 kilowatt hours, which is nothing. As I say, in the summer we'll be exporting a megawatt easily. So what does that all add up to? Well, we imported £143.80. We exported, we imported £2.37 in gas. We exported £9.26 in electricity, and we had £30.61 of free electricity. So again, that allowed us to suck all that free power in, store it in the batteries, and then get the credit from Octopus, and then obviously use that power as well. So that gives us a monthly bill of £105.07. So this is the chart that I'm going to show you each month when I do this. And the reason I want to do this live rather than in a recorded video is if anyone has any questions about how I'm pulling my numbers together, what it all means, this gives you the perfect opportunity to ask these questions live. And I'm more than happy to answer them. So in fact, somebody has, let's try this now. So I'm going to change screens and I'm going to try this new feature I've got here that should let me bring up a question there. So Pop in Stupid Bubbles, that's a fantastic name. Just got my Enphase details in January. We produced 720 kilowatts. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty good. Produced 720 kilowatt hours in January. You're in Colorado. Okay, so you probably get a lot more sun than we do. Yeah, Colorado, I remember talking to somebody recently. The higher up you are, obviously, you can be above a lot of the cloud. But there are parts of Colorado that are some of the best places in the world for generating electricity. So yeah, if you've got solar panels there, I'd imagine even today when it's probably freezing up in the mountains, that's going to be pretty significant. Anybody else? Does anybody else have any questions? As I say, the whole point of this is if you do have questions, pop them in the chat and I'm more than happy to answer them for you. But really, this is going to be an ongoing theme as we go through the year. I'm going to be as upfront as I can with everybody with what we generate, how much power we use, and where the money goes. And as I say, everything that other than what I generate and what I use in my energy account, as soon as I get that money from YouTube, from Amazon, everything will go straight into a high interest savings account so that you will all have a say in how we use this. No more questions. Well, hopefully this is useful. Hopefully you like this format. This is the first time I've ever done a live session. So please do let me know afterwards what you think. But yeah, it's great because I can actually take questions. So Jonathan's just popped up there. Let's have a look and see. Just had a heat pump fitted with solar panels. What's the next? Oh, so battery storage. Battery storage is your absolute next step because when you can take advantage of those smart tariffs, you can store that power and then use it later on. And especially if you know there's bad weather coming. So in early January, we had some days where it never got above freezing here. And it cost me maybe £1 for the whole day to run the heat pump. Whereas an EV, I love EVs, don't get me wrong, we've got 2 of them. In fact, we've been driving EVs for nearly 10 years in our house. The EV is a phenomenal thing. It will save you more money in the long run compared to your petrol or diesel costs. But you having batteries with your heat pump allows you to even out that cost throughout the day. So depending on how much battery you're thinking about installing, I would certainly go with batteries first, especially if you've got solar panels. So you can, during the summer, you can just save as much power into the batteries as you possibly can. But yeah, either would be good, but I would probably go with batteries first. Yeah, Robin's making a really good point. Just make sure whatever size inverter you've got is bigger than a 3.6 kilowatt. Now, I went on a bit of a rant about this. God, it must be a good month ago now. Installers have a real habit. When you go to them and say, hey, we want solar panels, absolutely no problem. We can do that for you next month. And they will gloss over the fact that what they're going to do is install a 3.6 kilowatt inverter. Now, if you live in a small house and you don't use a lot of electricity, that might be a really good thing. But the reason you might want a bigger inverter, even if you're only installing 3 to 4 kilowatts of panels, the reason you might want a bigger one is so you can run multiple things at the same time and you can pull power from the batteries at a higher rate. So an example would be, let's say you're cooking dinner. You've got the oven on, maybe you've got an air fryer running, maybe you've got a few other things in the house going. You could easily be pulling 6 to 10 kilowatts before you know it. And a 3.6 kilowatt inverter, it can only supply 3.6 kilowatts. So if you've got 15 kilowatt hours of batteries behind it, you can only pull power out of those batteries into the house at 3.6 kilowatts. Now, I made this mistake. It ended up costing me nearly £5,000 to rectify it. But now we've got a 10 kilowatt inverter, even though we only have 9 kilowatts of panels. But it means I can pull 10 kilowatts out of my batteries. And because it's a hybrid inverter, which means the batteries are behind the inverter, they're DC coupled batteries, we can actually charge the batteries at 15 kilowatts. So I could pull 10 in from the grid and have another 5 coming in from solar into those batteries. So 3.6 kilowatt inverters, I think, are a big mistake, and it's something that a lot of people will come to regret after a few years if you install one. So if you're going to install it, be careful. Make sure the installer is doing right by you, not necessarily right by them. Harrison's just had a Powerwall 3 installed today. Wow. Yeah. So this is something that's actually a bit of a challenge. Is batteries without solar, there is a payback period, but it's just going to be much longer, because really all you're doing is buying and selling electricity at that point. You're buying it in hopefully cheaper than you're exporting it, but you're either buying it and using that cheap rate electricity, which might save you, let's say, 10 pence a kilowatt, or you're buying it in at a low rate and then you're pushing it back out to the grid later, again, probably making 8 to 10 pence per kilowatt hour. It's not going to pay for itself very quickly. It will pay for itself eventually, but once you add solar to that, you'll find your payback period for a solar and battery system will drop to about 6 to 8 years, depending on the size. But yeah, the new Powerwall 3 having the gateway installed in it means, yeah, if you go off grid, and that's something when we retrofitted our 10 kilowatt inverter, we bought something called a backup interface that goes with it. And I haven't noticed a power cut since then. The power will go off here in East Anglia. I don't know, somebody sneezes near a transmission line, it seems to go off. So we get these micro power cuts, sometimes only a few seconds, but imagine it wreaks havoc with some things in the house. All the kitchen appliances need all their clocks reset. My computers in here all have a UPS, so it's not too much of an issue in my office. But it's still a pain, and occasionally we get longer power cuts. We had one a couple of years ago that was about 6 hours. The backup gateway, within a few milliseconds of the grid going down, there's a contact switcher that switches across, and it allows the batteries to continue to supply the house. It does mean you need to have a separate earth installed alongside your consumer panel, so that obviously if something goes wrong, you're not dependent upon the earth that's coming in from the grid. But yeah, really good. If you are installing a system and you look at it and you go, is it really worth it? I would say yes, it's definitely worth having the backup interface or a backup gateway or whatever your particular solar vendor calls it. Hopefully it's something you'll never need, but there are days when you'll look at it and say, I'm really glad we've got that. Any more for any more? No, we're all out of questions. Well, I say, hopefully this has been useful. Thank you all for joining. I honestly thought as a first live stream that I would literally be here all on my own. So I appreciate you all taking the time to join. I've got a whole load of new videos coming out. And there's actually a video coming out on Thursday, which is a correction for something that was wrong in the video that I published the other day with all the stats in it. So I just want to correct a couple of things that were in that video. So keep an eye out for that. And again, I'll be back with another live stream in just less than a month's time, and we'll see how we're going with our generation. With that, I'm going to finish up. I appreciate you all joining. I'll see you all real soon for another video. Take care. Bye-bye.